Well, hello, everybody. I'm Louis Amestoy. I work at the Bakersfield Californian. This is the Baco Motorsports Power Hour, brought to you by the Bakersfield Californian. Your racing home to Kern County Racing since about 1900, I'd say, before Griffith was born. Over there in the corner is the one and only Mike Griffith, our longtime motorsports rider here at the Bakersfield Californian, and one of the. I'm a little bit off centered. Is that right? I don't know. I can't tell. Anyway, America. Well, you know what? I should have gotten a flag that showed that at half staff, half mast, because of the passing of Charlie Beard.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that. Talk about that in a second.
One quick
bit of housekeeping we got to go to. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook. You'll see clips of from this show. We'll also share things. We actually got some pretty good reaction from Mr. Coletta's little sideways action.
Yeah, that was a pretty fun final.
Yeah, but follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on our YouTube channel as well. The full show highlights will be on our Bakersfield.com as well, which you can now access for free, by the way. It's now free of charge. So go ahead and come on and visit and support our sponsors.
You could probably camp out and park there for free.
You probably could. Absolutely. Camping, parking, industry. Be a part of the Fast Trip team. We're talking about this a little bit that Kyle Heckman over Bakersfield Speedway winning a modified. I think that qualified him for the Fast Trip all-area team.
3 wins now.
3 wins,
he
yep.
qualifies.
3 wins and you're in.
I think there's 10 or 12 already.
Yep. Yeah, so we've got a good group of people already qualifying for the all-area teams. Big show today. We're going to talk to Steve Hughes. They're going to do some kind of Guinness Book of World Records event coming up this weekend or in a couple weeks. Most people singing live on the radio. So they're going to try that Guinness Book of World Records attempt. I'm not sure how that's judged exactly. We'll ask Steve Hughes about that as well. We'll have Blake Bowser in from Auto Club Formosa Raceway and the great Scott Schweitzer talking about their weekend of racing and what's coming up this weekend, Memorial Day weekend, as they have their Memorial Day weekend race over at Bakersfield Speedway. But first, Mike Griffith, Charlie Beard, who single-handedly, through lots of money and really, very hands-on approach, basically pulled things together for Kern County Raceway Park to make it from going from a half-baked dream to reality.
Yeah, I think, it was partially finished when it got rolling again there, and Charlie came in and went out there just to buy a suite from James Vernon and Daniel Smith. Had got the ball rolling again and brought it out of mothballs. But this thing was this thing ate money faster than nitro cars drink fuel.
Right.
And I think James and Daniel quickly found out, it was out of their league, and Charlie came in and he would never say how much, but it was millions upon millions of dollars to finish this project, and always out there, always hands-on, just this guy's been working his entire life, and he's retired a couple times, but obviously Charlie likes to work. So he was very hands-on. He'd be driving equipment, directing people, pouring money into it, and got it finished and didn't stop there. Ended up putting in an MX course, didn't stop there, put in a dirt track, and he was just so hands-on and so instrumental in getting it up and running and then keeping it afloat, because the first couple of years, I don't think they were making a lot of money.
Yeah. And
kind of kept things afloat there. And, so he had cancer, came on quickly, and hospitalized for a few weeks, and passed away Saturday just before the races started. Made the announcement just before they sang the national anthem.
KCRP's history is an interesting one because it started off after out of the closure of Mesa Marin, it was sort of a dream to build this thing, and then the economy tanked, and there was no money to build it, right? To finish. So it sat empty for years.
Some of the infrastructure work had been done. The track had been carved out, the tunnel built. It may have looked more finished than it really was.
Yeah.
So it just took a lot of effort to get this thing up and running. It's a beautiful facility, and Charlie's going to be missed.
Charlie is going to be missed, and what do you think his contributions to the sport have been locally? I mean, giving those guys an opportunity to race, even though KCRP has had its kind of struggles at times, with car counts and things like that. They've still put on some pretty amazing shows so far.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some the shootout, the winter showdown for the Spears guys put on the last 2 years. 45 to 60 cars each of the last 2 years. Great racing, guys from all over the United States come in for big money. That wouldn't have happened without this facility. That
Right.
gets the word out there. Then there's been other races there. They even has a drive-in movie there.
Yep.
A time he's tried a lot of things out there. It's obviously a racetrack first and foremost, but he just decided to finish his racetrack, get it done, and it's been up and running. So.
All right, well, we're going to talk more about Charlie Beard's legacy and his contributions when Steve Hughes joins us here momentarily on the Power Hour. Let's move on to our next story, and he's back.
Yeah,
Going back with Stuart Haas.
Back.
Kevin Harvick.
And he was never leaving.
Re-signing with Stuart Haas Racing. And I tell you what, you and I have been kind of exchanging some links and some texts about, this whole thing where he was going to leave Stuart Haas. That was the rumor.
A rumor.
A rumor that was... Which didn't really make a lot of sense considering the fact that, he and Tony Stewart are really good friends. It's clear they're tight, that they have a great business relationship. It was all based on...
And most importantly, that he's won a championship there and he's still running well.
Exactly. And the other part of it was all built around the notion, around one idea that he's always been a Chevy guy and that going to Ford was not going to be his deal. But that turned out to be not true. He will be racing in Fords next year.
Yeah.
So
there you go. So and we had the little fun, the little story put up with all his responses on Twitter to.
Well, let's take a look at that. I mean, it's a little bit. Hide your eyes on some of it because let's go back to the original thing when the story broke that he was going to go to Kendrick Motorsports, and there it is. I'm not going to say it. You can just read it. Bunch of people who make blank up.
That's pretty much what it was. It was people made stuff up.
Right. Make stuff up. Let's play a game, and what has better information about things I do? Media sources or my direct social account, Yeah. So there you go. And then this is what he posted when they re-signed. Stuart Haas Racing re-signed Kevin Harvick to a long-term contract extension. Here's the full release. And then Harvick says, any questions now? But that started off a little war of words among the media, okay? Because Jeff Gluck of USA Today, a guy that I've known through the years, says, can't bite my tongue anymore, weighing in on how the Harvick thing went down. And Gluck wrote this, and he basically says, if you paid attention to Twitter on Thursday, there was a bunch of chatter about reporting and sourcing and journalists conducting themselves in the right way. I bit my tongue on this at first, but it really bothered me after a while, and I want to weigh in. And what he says was that Tom Bowles, a guy who writes for the website frontstretch.com, was the one that reported it. Gluck took exception to the reporting, saying that the guy isn't always there at the track, and that is not always there. And Gluck himself asked Harvick this question directly, along with Nate Ryan of NBC Sports and Bob Pockrass of ESPN.com, saying they waited outside on February 26th at Atlanta to ask him the question, and Harvick said, quote, you've just got to follow along what your organization thinks is best. I got a great team. I got great people. I've got a great organization that's wanting to win races. To not be committed to them would be foolish on my part. It's the best position I've ever been in as a driver. And Gluck says, those comments seem fairly strong, and I took him on his word that he would stay at Stuart Haas Racing. Others disagreed, and rumors continued to pop up every few weeks that Harvick might leave. He was asked about it again on March 11th in Phoenix. Quote, for me, I'm in the best position that I've ever been with my team. I feel like I have the best crew chief in the garage. It would be pretty tough to turn around and walk out on everybody who has been a part of building everything that we have built so far. And then he was asked again April 7th. So the rumor's still out there, and he keeps denying it. And basically what this is that the reporting on this says, fast forward to last weekend when Tom Bull shows up at Dover. You heard the rumor. Someone floated it in his story with multiple sources cited. Obviously, his sources are wrong. Stewart-Haas Racing announced Thursday that Harvick had signed a long-term extension to remain with the team. Harvick was never going to leave for Hendrick. And I think another part of it, too, is that I think Harvick also had an extension, as part of, an option that they were going to extend his contract. Well, here's what Tony Stewart's response. I'm excited about Kevin's extension today. Wonder how a lot of media feel about the reliable sources today. Sources blew it, hashtag. And so Gluck goes on and says, well, this is, this makes us all look bad because the sourcing's so bad. But then the frontstretch.com guys come back and they say, turn my password on my phone.
The one, a guy who founded frontstretch.com and is not part of it any longer had a bit of a rebuttal today.
Usually I attempted not to, and this is from Dennis Mickelson, and he's, who appointed Jeff Gluck, the NASCAR reporting gatekeeper? Well, no one appointed Jeff that. But the truth of the matter is that this kind of stuff does make the media look bad.
Well, but come on, this goes on all the time in every facet of news reporting anymore.
Right.
On television, radio, it's the first to know, first get it out there. This was bad, and even Nicholson, Dennis, in his rebuttal to Gluck, points out that this was just a horrible rumor and was just bad reporting.
Right.
But
everyone ran with it though because
what are you supposed to do? Front Stretch does it, and then somebody else says cites Front Stretch, and then you cite Front Stretch. But you want to see bad reporting, we could go back to CNN and the Boston Marathon.
Right.
And there's plenty of bad reporting out there on major news organizations as well.
Absolutely. Because
of the rush to be first, or I have to get it out there, and it's kind of silly. I like how the whole Kevin responded on Twitter though.
Yeah, and then so there was so Kevin was the one that shared Gluck's story, and then so I think that kind of
that tortured him, and I think Dennis's big thing was the term citizen journalist is what Gluck used in there, and some of these, and that was what he found really offensive.
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a good debate too, but I don't know. I think maybe we need to be more careful and have a talk about it. As an industry, how we cover these things as well. All right, moving on. We've got a lot of ground to cover. Shirley Muldowney is fighting cancer now.
Lung cancer. She's
lung cancer.
Going to have a lung removed next week, I believe.
Quote, I urge everyone to keep up with their health and get chest x-rays as often as possible to make sure they are okay. I'm a fighter. Always have been. Going to fight, and I'm going to fight this the best I can with everything I got. Dr. Howe is the number one guy in the business, and he is as ready as I am to get this thing out of me.
And a sad thing, Shirley's been absent from NHRA for quite some time, kind of out of the picture. And she's came back, and NHRA has embraced her, and she's got her Shirley's Kids program stuff, and she's at all the national events now. And so just she's back doing things and out there and raising money for good causes, and then this happens. So we'll see what happens from this. But she is a fighter. There's no doubt about that.
You had a chance to meet her at times, and what's your reaction to her overall?
She's spirited. I can remember. Well, I remember one time at the March meet when Jim Drummond, who was that? The promoter then. I can't remember. John. I can't remember his last name. A short guy was promoting the races for a few years. Anyway, she was mad about something. She came screaming up the push road.
Right.
And this was after the races in a dually, the 3x3 Chevrolet back then.
Nice.
Crew cab Chevrolet, screeching to a halt right in John's face, just finger in his face, just screaming at him about something. So, yeah, she's
tough,
feisty.
huh?
She's a fighter. She's tough.
All right. So we'll keep an eye on that story for you as well. And moving on, we got some more ground to cover. All-Star race. Yay, nay?
Yeah, well,
Logano
I didn't
wins
see
it.
It was Saturday night, rain delayed. Not
a lot of this.
I guess.
Yeah.
I was covering another race. Lots of a rain delay, not too many people in the grandstands. Lowest ratings ever for an all-star race, my opinion is. And drivers won't like it in teams because it's in Charlotte. But that all-star race needs to go to different tracks. Somewhere close.
Right.
Because they're in Charlotte. But I think it's worn its welcome out at Charlotte.
First is Kevin Harvick is number one in the Sprint Cup standings right now. Mears is 28th right now, and then in the Xfinity Series, Ryan Reed is 10th. All right, near and dear to your heart, the IndyCar race. Believe it or not, you find this hard to believe, but this is what Reuters is reporting, that the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500 will mark the first sellout in the event's long history. This is what the Speedway said on Wednesday, putting added demands on already beefed-up security. They expect possibly up to close to 400,000 people at the event. Will you be watching Indy 500 this weekend?
Oh, yeah, I always watch the Indy 500. That's a special race. You can't help if you've ever been there and spent many a month there. There's nothing like that. It's certainly waned over the years, but to see the grandstands full again like they were in the 80s, in the early 90s before the breakup, that's something special. If they could just bring back the snake pit in turn one, that would add a little add some ambiance to it. But yeah, I will be watching.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break. Well, go ahead. Fire it up. Speak.
What do you have this weekend? Oh, Formula 1. Monaco. Follow the leader.
Monaco Grand Prix. There we go.
Yeah, yachts.
Okay.
Money.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back with Steve Hughes of the Kern County Raceway Park up next here on the Power Hour.